Alright, so I guess about 5 years ago, I picked up this 91 KDX200E for really cheap. It was like $1,200 and it had 63 miles on it. And it had been sitting in some guy's warehouse ever since he bought it brand new in 91. He just didn't ride it, obviously. So I got it, and as soon as I rode it a few times, the gas tank split and cracked right around the petcock here. So I went and had that plastic welded, rode it a few more times, and it split again. Took it back, they welded it again, and then it split a third time, and then it split over here, and so they fixed that, and I rode it around for a few more times, parked it in the garage for about a year, and then when I went to ride it again, you can see there's a split, big one right there, another one right there, another one right there. So basically this tank is shit, which is too bad. So everybody knows you can't get new tanks for this. I tried and tried and tried and failed. So I just figured I was going to have to do that KX500 swap. And one day, lo and behold, I just accidentally ran across a company in Argentina that advertised they were selling a tank for that bike. So I saved up my pennies, jumped on that, and I'll show you what that's all about. So it didn't take very long for the tank to get here. I think it took about 4 days from the time I ordered it. And this is how it came shipped to me via FedEx. Got some kind of padding in there. It's not a shit ton, but I guess it doesn't need to be. But I'm going to spare you the unboxing of stuff. I always thought that was kind of odd that people would videotape them unboxing shit, so I'm not going to do that. Well, there's the tank. The company's name is OLM Racing Fuel Tanks, and they've got the little logo embossed on their tank. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's it. It looks pretty good so far. Yeah, got a little mount things on it, and once I get all put back together, I will take another picture of this. Alright, so I got the mounts put on, and all the holes seem to be fine. Put screws in there, the threads are good, everything feels nice. The petcock does not come with these holes drilled in here. You have to do that yourself. So you just have to go slow, be careful, try and be as accurate as you can, obviously. And yeah, I got it all worked out. So I'm going to go ahead and get a rebuild kit and put it in my petcock, because this thing is so old. Even though the thing wasn't leaking before, I thought it'd be just a good idea to go ahead and do that now. Alright, so I got the two tanks side by side. We'll take a quick look at them, show you some differences. On the original tank, you know, all the casting and stuff is very pronounced and defined, whereas on this one, it's a little softer. The edges aren't as sharp. Everything's still there though. This big indentation here compared to this one. You know, it's got this little deal here. Same thing on here, but again, it's a little softer edges. Everything seems to be okay though. There's one of the big differences is the gas cap. The aftermarket tank has a different, you can see there. And here's the cap for this one. I put this on already, but they got their own cap. They don't swap. That doesn't fit on that one. That goes on there. So I'm going to try and find, over time, I'll see if I can find different caps that may fit on that. I took the cap off of my WR450, and it actually screws on there. Seems to fit okay. It doesn't go down as far because this neck is taller than my WR, so it doesn't go all the way down. But it did fit on there, so I'll have to try it with gas in it to see if it leaks out or anything. Other than that, this thing seems to be pretty good. I've already taken all the screws out, and nuts, little bolts and shit, put those on there. I gotta put the petcock on, and then we'll mount it up and see if it works. Alright, so before I put the tank on, I'm going to just go over this bike real quick and talk about it a little bit. I made a few modifications, put the license plate on there, got that riveted on, put a new tool bag on it, changed the air filter. When I got it, the air filter was so old it just kind of crumbled and fell apart. I ended up floating the ground so I could run an LED headlight. Went ahead and replaced that cover, a little bit of bling. I don't know if you can see that very good. Put a quick disconnect fuel coupling on it. Makes it really easy to pull the tank off. Because the bike had sat for so long, the radiators were kind of rotted and had a bunch of pinholes, so I got a used one for that side and this new aluminum one on this side. Changed the handlebars to the flex bars. Man, for old men like myself, makes a big difference. Very comfortable. I bought a head off of eBay that I was going to have cut and modified, bump up the compression and modify the squish band. Got it off of eBay. When I got it, it had already been done, so bonus, man. It's like Christmas. Got a disc cover, and this, I tried to look for these covers, these frame guards, forever. Everybody was out of stock, blah blah blah. I finally found somebody who had one pair left, so I ordered those up real quick. Polysport LED headlight, I really like that a lot. And hand guards, put those on because I crash a lot. I don't really crash, I like to fall down. That's what old people do, man. I just put along and boom, fall over. I put the pipe on and put this different exhaust on here, the muffler. It's got a spark arrestor. Like I said, I got the pipe rejet, got an RB carb, and put the pipe guard on there. What else? Am I missing something? Oh, I put some different reeds in it. There was nothing wrong with the stock ones. They were just, I just had the thing apart and went ahead and decided to put those different reeds in there. It's supposed to help it out a little bit. I can't tell. Of course, I only wrote it once before I took it apart, so I'm talking out of my ass. Put some aftermarket plastic on here. I did one of the few times that I actually did crash. I broke my rear fender like shortly after I put it on. So I bought a new rear fender, but in the meantime, I went ahead and put a Frankenstein patch on here so I could go riding the next weekend. And I thought, well, when this patch gives up and stops working, I'll swap out the fender. Well, my Frankenstein patch is still working. It's still on there. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave that on there until it starts failing. Who knows how long it'll last. But yeah, I'm excited to get this thing back up and running again because, you know, it's probably 2 years I didn't ride it because the tank was leaking so bad. So, there's that. Alright, so I just ran into my first problem with this tank. So, these are the original mounts that I took off the old tank, put them on here, and then when I tried to fit the tank on, it would not fit because this mount here and the one on the other side, these rubber things here were sticking out too far. There was about a 6 or 7 millimeter difference, and I could not get the two mounts to slip on the outside of this and the one on the other side. So basically what happened was I measured the difference between that hole and that hole on my original tank, and then I did it on this tank, and like I said, it's about 7 millimeters difference. So it just made these things too close this way. So what I ended up doing, this big rubber bushing here that's in the mount, it's flush on this side but sticks out on this side. So I went to this mount, I took that rubber thing out and flipped it over. So now instead of the rubber protruding here, it's flush and then protrudes out here. So I only did that to one side and it worked. It gave me enough room to fit it on there. So this here, I don't know if you can see, but now that's a little bit recessed inside this plastic mount. So I'm gonna end up taking a washer and putting it inside here to make up that difference, so it's not hitting the mount itself. And we'll see how that works out. And I did notice my mount, when I took it off the original tank, it's split here and split here and here. So I'm gonna scrounge around. I seriously doubt that Kawasaki's gonna have these available, but I'll check. If not, I'll just have to keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't crack all the way through and break off or something. So anyways, that's my first issue. Not a disaster, but that's something that that they may want to look into. I'm not sure why there was such a big difference. You know, it's more than like 2 millimeters. I could have dealt with that, but 7, not so much. All right. All right, so I'm ready to install this tank. I got this one mount modified because normally the mount looks like this. I'll see if we can get a good shot of that. There's some of this rubber sticking out here. There's some on the other side, and the big washer goes right here, and the bolt goes through. So on this side, I took that rubber piece out and turned it over so that this thin part here is recessed down inside this plastic cavity. And then I took a washer and stuck that in there and put a little adhesive behind it so it would stay in place. So now that's all flush with the plastic. And so now I've got a lot more rubber sticking out on this side, and that took up the difference in space. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and put this on here and we'll see how it fits. All right, so the tank mounted up just fine, but what has happened is that when I changed the spacing on that so it would fit, it actually shifted the tank over about 7 millimeters, which now is having the tank touch that part of the radiator tube right there. Now that is an aftermarket radiator, so that may have something to do with it, but what I'm going to do is take those mounts off and switch them. Switch sides and see if that helps. Well, there you go. I flipped the mounts over and it shifted the tank over to the left just a little bit, which is just what I needed. Now you can see the little bit of clearance in there. So I'm good to go. Alright, so I got the tank mounted up, and now I'm going to put my shrouds on. So I got the first little bolt down there. I go up to do the second one, and you can see, I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom in on that. That hole does not quite line up. Now, having said that, this is an aftermarket shroud that I put on here. I took the original ones off. So I'm going to take the original one and put it on there and see if it's the same way. Hold on. Alright, so now I got the original shroud put on there. Put the bottom bolt in there. We'll come up here and take a look at this. It's better, but it's still just slightly off. Not so bad that I can't deal with it, because I can always just push that down a little bit and put the bolt in there. It's not a big deal, but it is off a little bit. Alright, I had a few minor fitment problems with the shrouds, but I managed to do a little massaging with the plastic. Got that stuff to fit on there. It seems rock solid, but like I said, it was off a little bit. And now I put the seat on. This part up here seems to fit okay. Come down here to the back mounts, and lo and behold, I measured that. It looks like it's about 7 millimeters off. So this thing definitely has fitment issues. So it made everything a little out of whack. And it's the same on the other side. But I have a couple ideas how I'm going to get this to fit better. So let me get to it and I'll show you. Alright, so basically what I'm doing to get the seat mount to fit is I'm just taking these holes here and I'm going to like ovalize them. Just relieve them and take some material off of one side. You can see where I marked this one. And I'm just doing it with a rat tail file and put this in a vise and just file it out. Just takes a few minutes. And I'll do these two and this one also on the other side, just a little bit, and that should give me enough clearance to get that few millimeters back so I can get that thing to fit. Alright, so I just took a file to this. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it in this video, but these holes were round, and so I just kind of ovalized them a little bit. And then this one up here was already an oval, but I just extended it this way a little bit more. So this should give me enough play in it to line up those holes. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so that worked out pretty good. It allowed me to slide those mounts in a better position and get that hole there to line up better. So I've got that taken care of. But once again, you know, it's just the fitment of this thing. The tolerances were off a little bit and kind of threw everything off, but I managed to get everything to fit. Just had to do a little massaging. Nothing dramatic, but yeah, could have been better. Alright, so I got one other issue. It really doesn't have anything to do with the tank. It has to do with these flex bars. When I mounted these things up here, I had to get these adapters, and so I could fit these fat bars on here. So it actually raised the bar up a little bit, you know, this way, and it has these big mounts on here. So when I would turn the handlebar full lock, it would hit the gas cap. This gas cap here, this is the original gas cap. So what I ended up having to do was trim a little bit off this gas tank just to clear these bumps, which was fine. I didn't care. It looks funky, but it worked fine, and it gave me the clearance I needed. So what I think is going to happen with this gas cap, it's probably going to end up doing the same thing. I won't trim this gas cap. Like I said, the gas cap off my WR450 fit on here. I'll see what else can fit on here. And what I want to do is end up trimming another gas, like a used gas cap that fits on here. I don't want to trim this original one if I can avoid it. Alright, so we'll see. Yeah, oh, by the way, everything's on here. It's good. So I think the only thing I have to do now is put some gas in here and take it for a test ride. But what I'm going to do, when I put the gas in here, I'm going to put a half gallon at a time, and I'm going to mark every half gallon, so I'll kind of know where I'm at. That way when I'm out riding, obviously I can kind of see how much gas I got left, how many gallons, blah blah blah. Not necessary, but figured I'd go ahead and do that while I had it apart and measure that out. Alright, well, here we go, boys and girls. I finally got around to putting some gas in the gas tank, and lo and behold, the petcock is not leaking, which is always a good thing because nobody likes a leaking petcock. And I also filled it up in half-gallon increments and marked it off. And that'll help me later on when I'm out trail riding or whatever. So yeah, next thing is fire this baby up and ride it around, see what happens. Alright, so I'm draining all the gas out, and for just shits and giggles, I want to show you this, with all the gas drained out of this side, but on the other side, it did not. And you can kind of see where the gas is left. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I marked it right there. Now obviously if you're riding, a lot of that gas is going to slosh over and get onto the other side, so it's not a big deal, but I just wanted to point that out. Well, it's all done. You saw the issues I had. It was kind of sad that I had issues like that, but I was able to work around them. I'm going to put the link to their website down below. I had trouble getting a hold of these people, and the way I did finally get a hold of them was through Messenger. They have a Facebook page, and I used Messenger on that to get a hold of them. But other than that, everything looks good. Time will tell if this is going to hold up long term, but it looks like a decent tank. I'm no expert at tanks, but it looks good. So far, so good. Alright then, leave some comments below. If anybody's got any suggestions or ideas, put it down below. Gotta help each other out. Alright, bye.